As instructed by Dr. Jordan, I researched Japan for our International Careers Teaching presentation. Allow me to begin my slideshow. Today, I will be talking to you about introductions and communication style in Japan. It is customary for anybody to bow when greeting somebody. The length and depth of your bow indicates the level of respect you have for this person. And whenever it comes to foreigners that are unaware of the customary greeting, it is okay to do a head nod for those people. Handshakes are very rare in Japan, but they are used in international business settings if needed. I did some research about costs and considerations for living abroad in Japan. I found out that, for example, a one bedroom in Tokyo versus Kyoto versus Sapporo are all different prices. The cost of living really is determined by the location that you are trying to live in Japan. According to the International Citizens website, the cost of living in Japan varies depending on location. To indicate those, I went ahead and created this table. And I would like you to take a look at the private school tuition for 1 year section. As you see, the tuition is listed as $10,440 to $12,760. These values are very low in comparison to the United States, in my opinion, because, for example, depending on your field of study, your tuition cost can exceed over 100K. And I didn't really see an indication of that during my research. And another example would be a fancy dinner for two. It's $32 to $39, whereas that would be the cost of one meal here. So I do see some variances, and it was thought that Tokyo was an expensive place to live, but that is changing per my research. And this table and my real life experiences with costs in Gainesville shows me that. Next, I'm going to talk about dress code in Japan. As you see in my picture, they tend to gravitate towards blacks, grays. It is okay to do earth tones like tan, but as I was seeing in my research, it is not common for especially women to wear colors outside of those and patterns. It is just considered too much, basically. Men tend to gravitate towards the same colors, black, gray, and earth tones like tan if needed. And they tend to gravitate towards a suit. I saw some conflicting information in my research about wearing a tie. So like, as you see in this picture, both of the males are wearing ties, but I did read in one of the websites I visited that ties are optional. So yeah, I wanted to leave that out of my slide just so I wasn't confusing. I also listed some of the traditional wear in Japan, like the kimono, yukata, hakama, and tabi. And outside of that, if anybody's trying to be casual, I noticed they tried to go still with the earth tones and more business casual in their casual wear as well. Meetings in Japan are very process heavy, not even process, but they are very specific, and their customs are very important to them. So, for example, everyone must do a greeting. Every time there is a business meeting, business cards are exchanged. Being on time, actually specifically being early, is the best practice. If you are late, it is heavily frowned upon, and being on time looked at a bit disrespectfully as well. Preparedness is of essence to them. They appreciate somebody who has taken the time to show them why they should be trusted and show them that they took the time to be ready for the meeting and know all of their facts and have questions and just be engaged in the conversation. Wearing proper business attire, as I was stating earlier, is very important as well. There may be certain instances where you will be offered meals by those that you are meeting with, and it is considered rude to not accept those meals. And if you are trying to give them a compliment, keep it modest. Don't overdo it. Don't seem fake, basically. And they appreciate, like I said, somebody who takes the time to just be respectful, take good notes, ask questions. I also noticed in my research that individuals must be waited to be seated, especially when meals are involved in these meetings. And you must essentially let the host lead. You may find yourself sitting at low tables without chairs when experiencing meals with your business partners. And as I was stating earlier, in those scenarios, just let them take the lead and do some research to know what you may be walking into. For example, the host may give a toast at the beginning of the meal. And once he does so, it is considered appropriate to follow up with the toast, especially if you're the main guest. And those are just things you would know if research was done before walking into the meeting. You are provided with wet naps, and in that, the customary thing to do is just clean your hands before starting the meal. Another thing that would be found out through research is the fact that you should not place your chopsticks upright. It is considered extremely rude, and you should use the other end to grab your food when grabbing it from the table. And desserts are not common. It is very rare that you will have somebody treat you to dessert after a meal. So don't expect dessert, is basically what I was reading in my research. When it comes to negotiations in Japan, the source that I was reading said the Japanese negotiation style tends to be impersonal and unemotional. What they mean by that is just keep it professional, be prepared, get to know who you are meeting with. And like I was saying earlier, build a trust level with them. It is also not common to reach a decision during these meetings, which is usually what certain people are expecting when they walk into it. So I wanted to highlight that in case anybody is in Japan and is confused by the fact that there was rich discussion, but not a resolution. I wanted to share some fun facts about Japan. I posted a picture here of geishas so that you could see what is customary in their culture. So some of the fun facts that I found interesting during my research was that there is a heavy population of specifically women that are over the age of 100. It does reach above 85,000 in population. Over 24 million pairs of chopsticks are used annually. Coffee is very popular as a drink in Japan. Blowing your nose is very frowned upon publicly. Find a private area, basically. And as I was stating earlier during the slide, the art of being geisha is still common in Japan, and they're known for their white painted faces. So I posted this picture so you could see that. The biggest cultural considerations that I took away from my research was that they take a lot of pride in their etiquette, punctuality, and preparedness. For example, the clothing, the coloring of it, and the way it's worn, how it looks on them, and the message they're trying to emote is all heavily thought out. Um, as I was speaking earlier, food is very important to them and their culture as well. And I realized actually that, contrary to popular belief, it is not that expensive to live there. I ended this presentation with my references and the sites that helped me complete this presentation. Thank you for your time, and I hope you have a wonderful day.